Live.
Perfect timing. We live.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catching tigers by toes. Shout out to Joe.
Malik, what's good?
All right.
You as well.
Y'all, shout out to Malik. Y'all know how it is. Y'all know how it go. When y'all come in here, say what's up, man. Where y'all at? Where y'all from?
Oh, yeah.
All of that.
Where you coming
All
in
of
from?
that.
You know, we got a good conversation today.
You know.
Shout out to all the alpha males. Go on and, tap in. This is dedicated to y'all uniquely, you know what I'm saying? Especially at the top of the show. You feel me? You know, the alpha males always feel like they don't get no love. So we gonna show some love to y'all today.
First generation college student in the building. You in here with a few of them. So your mama went to college?
She did not. She went to.
Well, you got one. After
I got one. She went to communities. My mama was 19, pregnant with twins, so she went to community college for a couple minutes, and then that was a done deal.
So you got.
Isn't she the postmaster though?
No, she was retired, being the special events coordinator for the city of Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. She got one of them mamas that's just like professional. You feel me?
Yeah.
My mama got a job to take 2 degrees at this point. People who but she did it with a diploma, but just that's how it works when you
you don't fucking around with Curl. Shout out to Kiki.
I hate it when you say my mama's name like that, and you know that. You know this. You know it, and you do it anyway. I'm gonna tell you again, like I tell you all the time, you curl your hair. Carol is my mother's name.
Hey, I was gonna say Miss Carol too, Miss Carol. Miss Carol.
Regardless of what Toya talking about, shout out to Miss Carol.
That's also my new name, so you need to come correct. Relax.
And look, I didn't, and I was about to do you, but I was like, I ain't about to do it. I'm
fine with it.
Hey, shout out to Chris too, man. Shout out to our guest today, Chris. You feel me? You know, Toya created a wonderful segment we're gonna be getting into. I feel like it's created a lot of buzz in these. I feel like in these chop up streets is what I'm gonna call it. That's what I'm referring to the streets in this instance. In these chop up streets.
Yeah, because after y'all see the segment today, we already got, you know what I'm saying, somebody else that's gonna come in. Yeah, I mean, we dispelling all myths. You know what I'm saying? All of anything that you thought you knew about black people, but the chop, because like y'all gotta understand, we 3 niggas that debated in college, so we already come from around where niggas be like, yeah, I debate. Like, you do what?
Right.
And they don't know that's offensive. You feel me? It's like you can't take it serious that a nigga, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, but also, we've been able to create some beautiful community in the little cracks and crevices we've been able to be in. So niggas will be surprised to see. Like, one of my favorite things is that I can go to any major city almost in the United States of America, and some of my debate niggas is there waiting on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's wild. So we're gonna get into all of that type of situation. Want to shout out the comments. Who's in here? Shay Two Spirited Woman Smith in here. Thank you so much for joining us. Got the notifications popping. So you about to throw us on the big screen. Noella's in the building, always here, celebrating and holding us down on another
on the projector.
Kiki Nogi in the building. Shay, I said Shay 314 represents St. Louis. All of that. If y'all ready to get it going, I'm ready to get it going.
We'll give it just a quick second. You feel me? Let it fill up just a little bit more. We don't want too many people to miss the show. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely interesting conversation. Because y'all about to get put on game. Definitely about to get put on game. You know what I mean? We're excited to have Chris, because Chris always peep what's in the cup. You know what I'm saying? Chris always peep what's in the cup. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Definitely.
I feel like I should be drinking whiskey with you.
I thought you was gonna be. I ain't really think. You know what I'm saying?
I thought about it. I mean, I have whiskey relatively close to me. Middle of the show.
Yo, we're gonna
relatively.
We'll get you next time. Yeah. Hey, if you can, you know what I mean. If you feel like you can, you know what I mean. Feel free. This ain't.
I mean, I'm no spring chicken here. I know how to make this happen.
Straight up. And with that being said, we could go ahead and get things started. Toya, you gonna bring it in, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So y'all know how we do. we're gonna start the show the way that we always start the show. Let's go.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride. Lit off Henny when I drive. In the city, we gon' slide. Bet I be there pronto.
Yeah, that song is super lit, though. You guys have like one of the best intros there is.
Super lit.
And that's why you're homies?
That's my partner. Shout out to Nick Brooks, Ben Brooks.
That free work is paying off.
Ben Kenobi. Y'all can find him on Spotify.
We appreciate the love. You know, we in here with family. It's another Monday here at the Chop Up Show. You know who it is. It's your girl, Toya G. Happy to be with y'all. Definitely in here with, you know, some mixed company. You know, we're doing our Brady Bunch here. If y'all watching this live, we got our boxes stacked up, but it's always a good vibe, and that happens because y'all know it's a little bit of a new section. It's a new segment we're introducing now called Black People Don't. So we're gonna get into all that in a minute, but meanwhile, good to have y'all here. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Who else we got in here tonight?
Well, I might as well do it. I'm the plug. Y'all know me. You know what I mean? I finally got a haircut, y'all. I found a barber in North Hollywood finally, and it's some hood shit too, ironically. But yeah, I'm in the mix. We here. We got guests. So I'm gonna act like I got some sense. You know, niggas like to act the fool when they got company. Not me. I'm gonna be on my best behavior. We good. This is Chop Up.
Hey, this is George Lee, aka Consciously. Don't forget to leave GeorgeLeeSpeaks.com where you can find me at. You know, Wednesday nights, Conscious Conversations, man. Holla at me. Tonight we got a cool conversation for y'all, man. We about to get into some things that I know for me. I ain't gonna speak for everybody else. I know for me, for damn sure. I ain't used to hearing Black people in relationship to what, you know what I'm saying, I guess it's about to, I feel like, you know, introduced us in terms of his experiences and the way he navigate, you feel me, this world, his hobbies and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I tried to make that sound real eloquent. You know what I mean? How did I do? You know?
I mean, I think you did very eloquent. That was as good as it gets, to be honest. I think that's how you did. Also, I mean, so Dama, don't feel uncomfortable. One, it's your show, and two, I'm the last person to be straightening up for, being that I always act the ass when I'm on your guys' show in the comments. So I don't try to impress me. I know you're real self. You don't gotta try.
Yeah. You know, you got company though. You know what I'm saying? I at least got to show how I was raised.
That's true.
As a heathen, he was raised as a heathen. You know what I'm saying? Chris already knows what he's saying. He already know you was raised as a heathen. But Toy, my bad, Toy. What we getting into, man?
Well, yeah. Shout out to Chris for being on the show. Definitely somebody popping in from the comments, but that ain't all and that ain't it. He's gonna talk a whole lot more about who he is, his background a little bit, and what he works on, so you can support him in some interesting ways, the same way you support the Chop Up. But we'll get to that in a minute. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and jump into I'm gonna actually throw it back to you, Lee. Let's jump into the Snapchat.
Yeah, I ain't about to jump back into it, man. Before we get into it, though, right now I'm on TikTok Live. I need all of y'all right now on TikTok Live to go over to YouTube right now as we speak right now to get into this conversation we about to have about alpha males and beta males. Shout out to all the alpha males in the conversation. I'm about to piss y'all off. As a matter of fact, y'all about to learn that y'all living a lie, that y'all about to have a little identity crisis or whatnot, especially if you've kind of structured your entire masculinity around being an alpha male and being dominant. You feel me? How the dude say, I'm dominant. I'm not submissive. I'm dominant. That's whatever. You feel me? So if you're an alpha male, you feel me? Go and report over to the Consciously YouTube or the Chop Up Show YouTube. Both of them will bring you over here, man. About to get into this show, man. But listen, when it's YouTube, when it's TikTok go off, go over to YouTube, the Chop Up Show YouTube. You get into it though. About to get into this alpha male identity crisis thing, man. About to get into research over me search, man. Hey, when y'all come over here to TikTok, let us know where you're coming in from in the comment section, man. But we're about to get into it. I feel like here recently, but for a long time, but definitely here recently, there's been a lot of trending popularity surrounding the rhetoric in the language of being an alpha male and being a beta male and how it is deployed in sense of people being able to insult and or endorse their masculinity by talking about whether they are alpha male or beta male. Before I present this research, though, I'm just curious. When a person being a woman or a man identifies as a alpha woman or an alpha male or alpha female. I've seen it on internet as well. Alpha females, you feel me? What is the first thing that comes to mind? You feel me when y'all hear somebody refer to themselves as such?
As an alpha male?
As an alpha male. They say I'm an alpha male. What's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
White. White. That's one of them things. Like I think white. Yeah, male. Like I just white. Like really white male insecurity. Like period. Like that's. I think of the most projecting, try hard. You feel me? Like focused on perception as I need you to see me a certain way type individual. And usually it's white dudes who either were picked on or they got some fucked up form of understanding of masculinity to where like that's how they justify picking on people. So that like white men, like that's fucked up in the head. That's the first thing I think of.
I won't contrast that. I think maybe an to add to that is because I mean clearly black men also occupy space in alpha masculinity or attempt to ascribe to his tenets. They might not call it that. I think the rhetoric is very white dudish. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see a lot of black dudes like, oh, I'm an alpha male. But when I think about alpha males in terms of just men in general, in particular black men, because that's my demographic. It's a reminder of why I don't date men primarily, why that is not a primary concern for me, is because I don't have time to navigate that or deal with that. That's some weird, twisted, the word insecurity that the plug used is very accurate. You searching and you reaching for things. And I think you don't have the capacity to explain what you're lacking or what you desire in yourself. And so to fill it in, you just like, I'm an alpha male. You know what I'm saying? Like you group and scoop all the shit you can't explain about yourself into this alpha maleness that you're trying to ascribe to. And I think, I don't know, I don't have time for it. Like it's exhausting for me because, and here's a reason why, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna pass it, a huge reason that I don't primarily date men is that I don't have time to appease that part of your personality or your sensibilities. I don't have time to stroke that part of your ego. I wanna, be excited about the things you're excited about. I wanna support the shit you care about. But I don't have time to like support and feed and nurture that part of you that needs, like I'm completely disinterested in that part. And so for me, I become a non-candidate for a lot of people because I just want to attend to the person in you. I don't have time to attend to like the man and like I have other shit to do. Completely.
I learned something. I learned something. I didn't even know that was a part of the equation. That's like women really be thinking like I gotta put up with this nigga trying to be it's
exhausting because to do that, then I have to like do this. I have to like manipulate something that's innate and natural to me. And that's exhausting for everybody because now I'm mad and now I'm making you mad because I'm mad and everybody's just upset because.
And you got alpha. And so you got if I was to frame, like if I was a white boy trying to understand you got alpha male energy.
Sure.
You got that's them white them frat boys in your class. That's why y'all be clashing because they be like, nah, she come off like an alpha.
Well, I mean, those are. I'm a communication scholar, so let's talk about symbols and signs, right? You have taken.
Let's talk about it. Unpackage it. Unpackage that for us.
Something that I have performed and grouped it and scooped it into some iteration of masculinity. Right? Because it's strong and it's powerful. So you're giving it respect because you see it aligned with some shit that you see as being strong notions of masculinity. And then you've alphaed it up, not recognizing all the other complex parts of my personality that are not an arguer, that's non-combative, that's really not that confrontational, that's quick to forgive, that's really easy to put I'm the nurturer and a lot of shit. Like none of that shit you counter in or factor in because you have created a sign and a symbolic relationship to some shit that you've seen that is default and de facto masculine to you. So I'm just interested in buying into that. I'm not flattered if you say those things. I'm not impressed by that. I'm not intimidated by any of those things. Again, you're using this catch-all phrase to explain some shit you don't have the language for. And I need you to use your words.
So you don't want a strong, domineering man?
Just interested. I want somebody who is confident. I want somebody who is, what's the word that I'm looking for?
An alpha. Just say it. You want an alpha.
I want somebody who is comfortable enough in their own skin, who is competent, who like, but who does not need the rest of that to like fill in the blank spaces. And so I don't know. I've spent so much time not thinking about this shit that I can't verbalize it. But sure.
Yeah, Chris.
And I do think we're gonna let Chris get it. I do think it's a uniquely white phenomenon, though. Like for real. But go ahead, Chris.
I mean, I do think it is. Without like making like full on statements, I don't see it in the Black community like Toya said. It's also like it's very similar to like here. I don't know if people say this everywhere because it sounds really dumb to me, so I hope people don't say it everywhere. But the same thing when people say they're type A. You know what I mean? Like no one talks about being type B. You know what I mean? It's like, but some of y'all niggas is type D as fuck. You know, and that's not even a bad thing. Like everybody gets on in the world. You know what I mean? Like people act like type A or alpha means you get everything done right. No, you might be causing hella problems, bro. Just because you're alpha don't mean like, you know, it doesn't mean you got your shit together. You know what I mean? But I think it's that idealism that they're looking for. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be because I'm a man type of shit. You know, and the same thing, like I said, type A's be the same way. Like, it's like, dog, like, that you work with type B's that you need in your system. So what the fuck is he talking about? Yeah. Like, it doesn't, you can't devalue somebody or add value to, you know, just because of your type, whatever.
Hey, well, as somebody that always navigate these internet streets, I would say that if the self-identifying alpha male was watching us, they would say all three of us men is probably giving off beta male energy because we not being aggressive enough.
Right.
But to answer my own question, I always think like, damn, you need to think about a K9 hierarchy. To be able to equate your masculinity is some cool shit. You gotta think about yourself as being a dog. And here's the reason why I say that. Y'all know my motto is research over me search, right? David Meach, I might be saying that wrong. M-E-C-H, David Metch. I'm gonna say David Metch introduced the idea of alpha male to describe behavior observed in captive animals. Alphas, he wrote in 1970 book, The Wolf Ecology and Behavior for Endangered Species Win Control for their packs in violent fights with other males. But as he outlined in 1999, he since rejected the idea in light of research into the behaviors of wolves in the wild. In nature, Metch writes, wolves split off with their packs. When they mature, they seek out opposite sex companions with whom to form new packs. The male and female co-dominate the new pack for much simpler, more peaceful reason. They're the parents of all the pups. This is the reason why we see a lot of different women as well identify themselves as alpha females, because they identify a reason or a need for domination. But as one of my homegirls put it, you know what I'm saying, Omni the Voodoo Babe put it, this is a way that people understand themselves only in captivity. You feel me? I'm gonna end up doing something with her. We got some things that we can try and put together. But my curiosity to y'all now that I've kind of outlined a little brief research. Does your understanding of the alpha male, beta male shit change, knowing that the person that came out with this origin has then since then debunked and disagreed and kind of?
Well, I think it's important. I think it's important to like properly understand like what he did, because it wasn't a debunking as much as it was a mislabeling. You feel me? Like Mesh was noticing was that there was a leader of the pack, and there were instances where like there were certain competitions that led to fights for dominance, right? But what he understood was that who became the leader only had something to do with the amount of pups they produced and how much they bred. So really, what he replaced the term alpha male with was breeding male, right? Because it was then, as they produced a lot, as this one male produced more pups, that became his pack. He became the leader of that pack based on his contribution to, you know, bringing them motherfuckers into existence. You feel me? And so the idea that you become an alpha through dominance is antiquated, even from the person that actually introduced the information because it misinterpreted what was happening. You feel me? Which is often what happens with niggas who consider themselves alpha males.
So you mean
they have they don't have a true understanding of self. You feel me? What was you saying?
Alpha male was Nick Cannon, is what you saying?
A real alpha. No, for real. Like if you was looking at it, if we use,
I'm trying to make the correlation, but because you're giving when we have it in real time, and somebody who, if you want to celebrate somebody, then Nick Cannon is the prototype for alpha male.
Nick Cannon would be considered an alpha male because he got a bunch of fucking kids. It's breeding. It's you become an alpha male by having a larger pack, by breeding more than the next month. You know what I'm saying? Like that's literally how it works. You feel me? And so, but this framing, right? It speaks to like how incorrect that term is when talking about even the pack dynamic. It speaks to how there is they don't understand self. You feel me? Like the people who use that term are doing so out of the same spirit of the motherfucker who changed it when he used it incorrectly. I'm getting something wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you call yourself an alpha male to try to cover up for where you're incorrect in who you are as a person. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's usually associated with insecurity.
There we have it. And I mean, a lot of great points being made between y'all. A lot of great points coming in on the comments. Definitely, Khadijah, Kevin, shout out to you popping in between class and Pinky Promise Life. Brother Dodek says a prime example of a beta male being ushered as an alpha male is Dr. Umar Johnson. The women put him on his pedestal to make it fair, seeming as if he's an alpha male. Right. So I think there is, and I think some of the comments also talked about it. Yeah, he said it earlier. Women certify men and their alpha male behavior by choosing one with the most. And so it's not just men who create and prop up the notions of alpha maleness, right? We should be clear about that, right? There is a women's part, and I think that kind of that speaks back to my opting out, is like there is definitely a women's contributions to these notions that alpha males are ones with things, with power, who present themselves this way, who move this way. I mean, and there's a bunch of different names that this generation has come to ascribe to them, you know, a gangster, boss, or this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? You can think of many different phrases that our culture has come up with to describe those people. And that's what I mean when I say we don't say alpha male, but we've come up with a bunch of different phrases to kind of capture the idea of what juxtaposes an alpha woman or even a more submissive woman is, you know, they go alongside an alpha male. So interesting conversations to expose, but definitely need to pinpoint that women contribute to it. Jack of Hearts, a boy with dreams. I definitely see out here talking about the cross-cultural components of this conversation. Is not a black, well, just a white thing. We alluded to that. It's not just a black thing. There's also some Latino cultures that also ascribe to notions of alpha maleness and beta maleness as well. We got a video pulled up. What's this?
Yeah. I wanted to show this analysis from Omni. You feel me about this alpha male, beta male, toxic masculinity, captivity thing. You feel me? Just show it and you feel me? Hear what y'all gotta say, and then we keep it rolling. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if y'all can hear it or not.
There is no such thing. No, it's hard to hear.
Turn it up a little bit.
Let's see. It's still kind of difficult to hear.
Might not work then. Might not work then. Yes.
But I mean, but essentially, what she's speaking to is exactly what we're talking about. Like the concept of alpha male was introduced fallaciously. It was a misrepresentation, a misunderstanding of pack dynamics that aren't truly reflected in even the species that was used to reflect that language. So not only is it just incorrect because we're not pack animals, we're not fucking wolves, like George said, we're not canines, but it's not even correct when talking about fucking canines and how how wolves move in the wilderness for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's what identity crisis comes, because you there is no such thing as the dominant motherfucker is not always the leader. The person that's willing to be domineering, that asserts themselves onto that, and not even in nature do you see that motherfucker being the person that's leading the pack. You feel me? And I mean, I think that at the end of the day, that's the message. You know what I mean, that's the fortune cookie right there.
Yeah, I think her voice just so like soft or whatever. You just can't hear it.
I am so glad.
I still can't hear it that good right now. I'm playing on my speaker.
Because it is such a
I can hear it though.
moment. The term alpha male was created by an author named David Meck, who wrote a book in the 1970s called The Wolf, The Ecology and Behavior of an Endangered Species. He studied wolves in captivity and noticed aggressive behavior from the males towards each other and the pack in an effort to dominate, and he called them alpha males. Years later, in 1999, the same author came back and debunked his own theory and, in fact, begged the publisher to stop creating and printing his original theory. How did he do that? He studied wolves in the wild. And in their natural state, they did not exude this aggressive behavior and need to dominate. So you see, most self-proclaimed alpha males are the most emotionally immature and aggressive because they are attempting to mimic behavior that only happens in captivity and not in their natural state. This is what we know as toxic masculinity. The alpha male does not exist. So again, I challenge you to break free from those colonized chains and captivity that you are in and return to your natural state. Bless your heart.
That sounds like the end of like somebody's mom's like voicemail or something like that. That was, like, she was reading those boys.
He said, voicemail.
She ever want to hear somebody get read, but no, she's absolutely right though. I think what you were saying, Toy, is like we're just looking at either an evolution or an adoption of a different word terminology, boss, entrepreneur, whatever. I think that's what we're really witnessing versus any type of like accuracy to what could be considered an alpha male, like considering those like observations. So
yeah, hey, and if you're interested in seeing more content from her, I posted that video I just showed y'all on my Instagram page, and I tagged her in it, and you'll be able to go find more content from her. I see people in the comment section asking me, can I tag her? Can I pin her? So yeah, you ever go to my Instagram page and go look at that video, and her she's tagged in that video. But just to wrap that segment out, though, I guess Toya, you got any last? No? Well, hey.
Shout out to all the alpha males, you know what I'm saying? Like we said before we got started, shout out to all y'all. I don't think too many of them in here. They probably gonna stick around for this whole conversation.
Man, y'all, alpha male. If you gotta go around asserting yourself through labels and all that other shit, you weak. It's weak.
Hey, I feel like what I say uniquely, man, is that when it comes to a lot of the gentlemen, individuals that like to, I feel like, deploy the alpha male, beta male, alpha female, beta female terminology, they usually try to do it in a very pseudo-intellectual way where they're claiming to have some type of intellectual mastery of domination or some intellectual mastery of gender roles that say they get to know or get to do X, Y, and Z as a result of them knowing X, Y, and Z. And I just think that y'all full of shit and y'all don't do no research y'all claim to do. So just in conclusion, y'all know my motto: research over me search, facts over feelings. A lot of y'all should just go to therapy and figure out why y'all want to dominate people and why y'all want to define yourself and have an identity that is defined by domination and trying to get over on folks though, man. But what's the next segment?
I love it. Jack Hart said, I'm an Omega. I'm here for it. The end of all that shit. I'm here for it. The next segment we're about to get into, which will be the rest of the conversation we have for tonight, is with the homie right here. Christopher Strickland is in the building. And tonight we are introducing a segment called Black People Don't. Now, I want to preface the segment before we just jump into talking to Christopher with a quick explanation of it. That way, if y'all feel like you align with this, you can jump in a DM, you can send us a tweet, you can talk to us wherever you get your chop up information so you can be on here. This whole segment is about dispelling the myths about where Black people are, where we can find them, what type of activities, what type of industries, what type of jobs they do. Just, you know, in a world where we see Black people in certain places and spaces a whole lot more than we see them in others, we just thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and bring some Black folk on the show so they can be like, hey, you know that thing you think is real white? when I'm around. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here in the mix of that. And so we have Christopher here. We're gonna get into a couple different questions. We are gonna take the opportunity to talk to him a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Lee, who I think we're gonna started with the first question.
Hey, well, Chris, before we jump into, I feel like your experiences in cycling, you feel me? For the folks that don't know, I'm talking about the bicycle. Like he ride bikes, you feel me? But like not like just, I feel like we always make jokes about the only thing I know about cycling is the crackheads. You give a crackhead a bike, they'll be able to beat all them people in the, you feel me? I feel like we all have heard the joke. We all have heard the joke about crackheads going into like the French, whatever you call that thing, you feel me, and beating everybody, right? But before we jump into that though, Chris, you know what I'm talking about, Toy. Shout out to you, Toy. You know what I'm talking about. Before we get into that though, Chris, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, man? About where you from, how you got into cycling, you feel me? And just a little feng shui about yourself, man, before we start getting into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I feel like I didn't say that the first time around, but thanks for having me. My name's Christopher Strickland. I live in the Bay Area. I've been a cyclist since 2013, so 8 years. It is very white. Like it's not more blacker because I'm in it. You know what I mean? It's still a lot of white. But I think what people don't realize is that like people outside the sport, you might appreciate this. Like the previous national champion and the guy who has the most marketability in American professional cycling is this guy, Justin Williams. He's black. He's a 3-time national champion up until recently. He runs literally the most successful like American pro cycling team in the country. I'm a photographer as well, so I photographed his team winning races many days in a row. And his brother, Corey Williams, is probably the biggest talent on that team, aside from Justin Williams, who has all the national champions. There were cyclists before them, Rasan Bahati before him, and you go all the way back to the heritage, and like you can go back to like Major Taylor. I think there was a really strong black cyclist in the 80s too as well. But there is actually a decent for what we're used to seeing in history, a decent amount of documentation of like black success in cycling and its influence. But yeah, man, I mean that's what like I do. I do cycling, but I'm also
what specifically brought you into cycling? So you say you started 8 years ago. Like what happened that made you be like, you know what, I'm gonna try this cycling shit out?
So my boy, he went to Harris Stowe. Funny enough, he's not black, but he went to Harris Stowe out in Missouri. And he came back and he was already riding a bike. I had moved back from across the country. I had moved back at the same time he came back from school. And he told me he was riding. We're old baseball teammates. So that was just my partner. So I was just like, all right, like, I bought a bike. And yeah, that's how it was from there. And it's just like all the other thing is like not all, but most black people have experience with bikes until it becomes like a competition, you know what I mean? But even then there's still like black folks are very talented on bikes. It's not even a question. So I think it's obviously just a representation thing. But when I got back on, I was beelining. But when I got back on the bike, it's the same thing as like when I was a kid, like going down hills, going fast. Like if you haven't been on a bike in 10 years, you'll remember it, like the second you get on it. It's a pretty good feeling.
I was saying it's true.
You guys got my name fucking spelled wrong on this shit. Who did this?
Exactly.
It's like riding the bike.
Strickland, thank you.
What? Come on, Toya. I know this is your doing.
Christopher Strickland.
No. That's it. It's me.
Trying to be fancy. This is what happens when you try to show off.
Nah, it's a part of the game. It's a part of the game. You be all right.
Christopher, and I don't know if this is a good way. I'm definitely happy you caught that. We want to fix that ASAP. I want to segue though into, because there's more opportunities for people to hear from black cyclists, from cyclists in general, just to kind of get an idea about your world over in your podcast, but so much more than that. So real quick, drop the information people need to actually listen to you in the same way that they listen to us right now.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, I have a podcast called We Gotta Hang Out. You can find it everywhere. So it's on, I guess it's not on SoundCloud, but it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts and all the other major platforms except for SoundCloud that you can get podcasts. You can find it there. We've got Instagram at We Gotta Hang Out.
Yeah.
I hope that's right. It might be podcast, but it'll pop up. Big logo with the face. And then, we got to hangout.com. There's not much happening over there, but I mean, if you want to find a way to support, and we got a Patreon, so you can find the links for that too, if you guys want to slide over there. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at.
Hey, I got to shout it out. You actually had me as a guest over there, so I definitely have started to listen to it. And I with the whole quarantine and working from home, I don't get to do as much driving as I used to, so I don't really get a chance to throw on my podcast like I used to and just kind of roll it. But yours is definitely one, and sometimes in the workout, I'm like, let me go see what Christopher been talking about.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Toya, you're one of my favorite guests. So I'm not saying that just because I'm on your show, but you're definitely one of my favorite guests. I send people, like my new upcoming guests, if I feel like they should listen to the show, your episode is always on there.
We ain't got no sense because you'll be in the comments acting up, then we get on the actual mic and start acting up. Not to mention the conversation. It's just a good time. So I love that. If y'all didn't catch it, Christopher's a cyclist, as well as a photographer, as well as a podcaster, and probably a whole bunch of other stuff. So we learn a lot.
Multi-talented, multifaceted. Come on, black man. Come through.
I'm doing what I'm trying to do. I can't be working. I got fired in the pandemic, and or I didn't get fired. I got laid off. But like this life, like I really get to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like working as a photographer. My whole perspective has changed. I'm really liking it now. So like this shit's too sweet. So I gotta keep working hard. Like I'm not trying to show off. I'm not trying to be somebody wearing a bunch of hats. I'm just trying to go back to a 9 to 5.
Absolutely. Hey. So you gotta make your main thing your main thing.
Yeah, motivation, man.
Yeah.
Plug. Question on you.
Plug.
This is my thing. This is my whole shit.
That almost sounds upset.
Right. You sound like he about to. It's my whole thing, Chris. No. Why in the hell your ass be
out here with no hair, feeling comfortable?
Nah. It's my questions is cycling related. You feel me? What's the barrier? Like why do niggas think that niggas don't cycle? Like why is it that you have like the Michael Jordan of the sport, the LeBron James of the sport, you feel me? Looking like us. And like when you said that, I'm like, damn, for real? It's a nigga that's
I don't believe him. When he said it, I gotta Google it. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
What's the barrier though?
I mean, it's not a mystery, it's whiteness. But it's like across the board. But it's very specific though, because once again, it's not that Black people don't cycle. Like I see, like groups, like, when you go out, most people don't run, but like if you imagine like there's like a running club, the same thing as a cycling club. And I've seen plenty of like all Black, people out for a ride, in groups of 5, 10 or whatever. And if it's like nothing like crazy, like if it's just a homies, if you can get 5 to 10 homies to ride bikes together, that's actually a big group, like for like a homie ride. But, and I see that all the time. I think the barriers happen in like very specific places, right? So like Justin broke through that barrier, but you just didn't see Black cyclists. Like you put like whoever's coming in second place right now in cycling is a big deal. And if that person's Black, like they have to be like an even bigger deal to be first, In 2021, that might be a little less accurate, but it hasn't been that long that cycling is still not even close to better or like even moving in the right direction. But just imagine, like
Armstrong fucked the money up. I ain't really been paying attention no more to the sport. After they got called out for being a fraud.
Yeah, but then you see all these cyclists like these what they call like 12 o'clock boys or whatever they're called, and they just do wheelies down the street, and everybody thinks that shit's tight, but no one ever puts any love on them. You know what I mean? Like no one ever puts them in a magazine. No one puts it like cycling tries to maintain the sport to be super white, at least in the most recent history. There are some like publications and there are some brands and not industries, but like some brands that are trying to do things the right way and try to show as much love as they possibly can. but it's not that much. And for the most part, because the sport relies on like a European fan base, like American cycling is a appendix to European cycling. So yeah, sure, American can make strides, but if Europeans are only paying white people, it still don't really matter. You know what I mean? Like sure, yeah, go ahead, and it's like being like dope as fuck in the D League. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, get your shine in the D League, but like, if you come over here, we're not going to put no money behind you. So there's all sorts of ways that they create barriers and discouragement, just not making people feel welcome in that space to be successful. Dude, so Justin Williams' brother, he got in a tiff with the guy who works for the National Organization of Cycling. So like, if you were to go race your bike tomorrow, you would have to get a license through USAC. And so the employee of USAC, he's a trainer, got in a tiff with Corey Williams, who's a state champion, multiple time state champion, has rode on the national level like previously. And he got in like a Twitter beef with a guy who works for USAC. And it's like, dude, USAC, you guys can't be talking shit to your own riders like this. Like, you know what I mean? In a very disrespectful way. Like things like that are barriers. It's like, they're not really, cycling is not ever really fucking with Black folks too much.
We don't live in a vacuum. You aren't the first Black person to cycle or see the disparity. Sure, are there like organizations or in certain cities that you are aware of where a Black biking presence is there? Like, are there places where there are attempts to get Black people riding and doing stuff like that you know about?
Every metro city, I think, is like that at this point. Like the big metro cities. So not like necessarily everywhere, but like there's definitely Black folks riding bikes, like and getting people to ride bikes in Oakland, San Francisco, all of the Bay Area. I know there's some people, I don't know if this is an official bike shop, but they're called North Star. It's like North Star Cycling. And they're out of the Seattle area, I'm pretty sure. And they're all Black, like they do, they make some good initiatives. There's groups called the Black Foxes, which is, you'll more see them on social media, but they are spread out throughout the country, but they themselves organize rides of like people of color and Blackness. You know what I mean? Like there's people doing, good things. And then there's a lot of non-Black people. I always like to see like what a city is like when non-Black people are getting involved too, just to get like a temperature check on like what the community is doing, because you really got to know who you're aligning. Yeah, you got to know who you're aligning yourself with, because some people are like harmless, but they still like they be slowing the process down. Exactly. Like they be, what I mean. And so you got to know who you're messing with. So it's good to see. It's a lot. There's a lot of opportunity for Black folks to find community in cycling for sure.
Shout out to Els. Thanks so much for sharing the stream, even though you got a piece out. Definitely happy that you popped in here while you were here. Knew Eric Kang was good with you. It's great to see you up in the building, playing it safe and all the things. We, had a great conversation last week. So happy that you're back with us doing all those beautiful things. Question for you, Christopher. I want to know, like, what are some just common myths or misconceptions that you run into from Black people or just people in general who are just like, cycling, leave it over there because this thing or that thing? What is just something people?
And when she says leave it over there, cycling's white. Leave it with the white. What are the misconceptions?
Or boring, or for a certain body type, or you know what I'm saying? Like just any litany of things that you're just like, actually, no, here's the facts.
Right. I mean, definitely the body type thing, I think, is like a misconception for maybe some cyclists, like a certain group of cyclists, but like, yeah, all body types ride bike. I mean, this is probably going the opposite direction, but like people swear you can't ride a bike because you're Black, you know what I mean? Which is kind of crazy. Like if you show up to a group ride, oh yeah, man, like not because they think like, oh, he's gonna just like fall over, but more like, does this guy know how to ride a bike? And being in the Bay Area is probably one of the most elite like cycling, areas in the country. And so, you show up.
I lived in Long Beach. I don't know. It's when it comes to being on the bike in Long Beach.
Yeah, Damo turned into a whole guy. He turned into a whole cyclist. He was
SoCal has a lot too. I will say, like, SoCal would be like, because we have Marin County, people say NorCal is the best for riding, but LA actually has, like some of the best cyclists, at least at volume. But we definitely have the best riding though. But yeah, even Justin Williams is from down there. But anyways, like people just assume you can't ride a bike. I mean, I've had many people like quiz me on my bike as if I stole it. You know what I mean? I had to do that in San Francisco at a coffee shop one time, and I was just like, bro, what is up with these random questions? Like, go ahead, Dom. I feel like you was about to say something.
I wasn't about to say nothing. I was just laughing.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shit like that. Just a regular.
Ask you random questions like what? Like what type of bike you got?
Yeah, like so this dude pulled up on me at the coffee shop, and he was like, nice bike, whatever. And then he started asking me like really specific questions about how the bike works, but I was his vibe was just different, like it's just a little different. So after he's asking me all these stupid ass questions, he goes, yeah, he's like, because I have that same bike. And I was just like, so why are you asking me these dumbass questions then? Like, how this bike works, you know what I mean? Like
don't you check me on some shit. Like,
yeah, and so stuff like that you have to deal with.
That happened to me in Long Beach. He actually didn't ask me how the bike worked. It was a dude who just got out of jail, and I was at a Jack in the Box. No bullshit. Like and I see him just like looking at it and like moving it, and I'm just like, yo. So I go outside of the Jack in the Box. I'm like, yo, what's good? What you doing on my bike, bro? You feel me? Because I listen. It was a chrome. Man, what they call it when they ain't got the brakes on it?
Fixie.
It was a chrome fixie. Yes, like I'm talking about. It was clean too. And Long Beach different. Like they got a whole part of the street that they dedicate to riding. You feel me? Like, and you gotta abide by the laws. Like, so I was vibing when I first got out here to California. Dude, pushing and pulling on my bike. Man, he just like, out of nowhere, he just say, yo, this is my bike.
Okay, yeah. You got robbed?
Like, hell no, I ain't get robbed. Shit, this story don't end like that. Goddamn it, it ain't no sob story. I wouldn't let him take my bike. I told him straight up, like, listen, bro, listen. Listen, I was understanding and I was sympathetic because the nigga just got out of jail. He said people took stuff from his mama house and all this other type of shit. He was like, his bike got stolen while he was in jail and it looked just like this and all this other stuff. I'm like, listen, I feel for you, sir. And I hope you find your bike. This ain't it, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not this one.
So, after some pride, I was ready to be like, hey, I ain't about to let you take my bike, so we're going to have to do what we got to do. But, I mean, cooler heads prevailed and he moving around. But, yeah, man, California, when it come to bike stealing, it's the fucking bike thief capital of the world in this motherfucker. I'm telling you.
I believe it.
They like to break in the cars up in the Bay though. So if you lose your bike up here, you lose your car up there. You just gotta pick your cars. This might be an obvious question, but one of the reasons I stopped riding bikes, right, is that I'm a short person. I'm a smaller person, and I stopped growing a very long time ago. It was not in the cards for me any longer. I've given up. At about 28, I said it's fine. Short people. Do you often see shorter people? Is this a game for the vertically challenged, or is that just
Absolutely.
Not my that bar started and I was just like, my feet aren't on the ground anymore. I don't want to participate. So help me out.
Actually, it's. I feel like shorter folks have the advantage most of the time. At least if you're going uphill.
Really?
But yeah, all in all, I think shorter people have a slighter advantage. They're faster usually because they're lower. It's all aerodynamics. So the lower you are to the ground, the easier things can come to you. It's not, you still gotta have some skills. Actually, the other thing people don't know about cycling is it's actually like it's not the most skillful sport, but if you're going 50 miles an hour, you got to know how to turn your bike, and so, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, shit. I'm going into a wall. If I'm going 50 miles per hour,
I ain't gonna power on a damn bike.
It's very common. It's very common. Well, going downhill. You'll go about this.
I'm good. I'm walking down the hill.
Yeah, going downhill. Look, see, this is why we think black people don't do it. What George doing right now, talking about I ain't going downhill no 50 miles.
But you know what? I remember I heard Lil Duval say this a long time ago. He's like, we gotta stop saying that though. You know what I mean? Like because and I, I'm obviously like number one jokester, but like a lot of reasons that I didn't do anything, or hell, a lot of reasons I didn't even want to be smart, even though I was engaged. Is because like black people aren't smart. Black people don't do that. Black people don't ride bikes. Black people don't ride horses. Black people don't fly planes. Like, and you be hella shocked when you find that shit out. Like when you actually see somebody. Like my sister was in the Navy, and we had a family member come over, and she was a pilot, for the Navy or whatever. And it was like, goddamn, like, and I mean. I was fortunate to be around enough people like that in my life and my family, but it's just so funny how you just hear so many times like, oh, black people don't do this. So yeah, like there's not a lot of black people in cycling, but even if it doesn't appeal to you right now, I didn't think I was going to be a cyclist, you know what I mean? But even though it doesn't appeal to you right now, like I try to tell my son, I try not to tell him like people don't do this, just anything. I don't care what it is, you know what I mean? Like somebody does it or else you wouldn't even have thought about it. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to do it.
Hang on, I tell my son, hey, we don't act like that in public. Our kids don't do this.
Yeah.
There's certain things we don't do.
Nah, you're a new parent. There's all sorts of violence that goes through your head when you're a new parent like that, man. I've been there. when you got like a less than 1 year old, you're like, yeah, we don't do this because something's gonna happen. But
this is a good question from Shed in the comments before I move on. Like you just mentioned your son, is that a passion that he is into, that he's interested in, something that you've been able to connect with him, or is that just like that's Dad's thing and he has other stuff he's into? If you don't mind.
That's a great question. I'm not that parent. I played baseball for 17 years, and like people always ask, like, oh, is he gonna play baseball? It's like if he wants to, and with cycling. I've taken the same approach. Like if he wants to do it, like he has a bike. We did a thing for Specialized, and he got a bike out of it. And so he has a bike, and he likes to ride with me the few times that we have. But I think I should make it more of a thing, just like as a parent thing. I really think like especially because I co-parent. Like the time I spend's got to be a little more valuable. Because we don't. It's just harder. But yeah, I think it will be a thing. It's not one right now, but I think it's important to do anything, whatever. I don't know. I think the black father thing, like that conversation is a little antiquated because I know people with like good black dads. But I will say the last thing you want is like for your kids to be influenced, like, and they like feel like they're like statistic or something like that. You know what I mean? Like your influence, even if you're there, you know what I mean? So there's always like something that you got to do with your kids to,
Absolutely. Okay, I want to jump on. We got two more questions, really kind of 2 to 3 more questions before we jump and slide out of this. I want to ask you, Christopher, so you're talking to us, me and Dominique at 30-somethings, on the lower end, but still whatever. You somewhere in the middle.
I'm on the low end. I'm only 36. I'm not
exactly.
On the low end.
So we all on the low end. But
past the halfway mark there.
I got a different calendar.
But people of a certain age, right, might be like, cycling is, of my youth. I'm 30-something, 25, 26, however old you are. Where do I start if I'm at this stage in my life and you, Christopher Strickland, have inspired me, Creedub on Instagram, has now empowered me to go get into this cycling thing? Where do you think I need to start putting my connections together? What should I do?
So the first thing you should do is just like, ask yourself like what type of riding you want to do, or what do you want to get out of the bike if you don't even know the riding or whatever. And get on anything inspiring, man. Like I think the biggest thing is getting a bike that you want to ride, you know what I'm saying? Or get into an activity that you want to do, but get into a bike that you want to ride and know what you use it for. It's plenty fine to be like, I want a bike that I can just commute on, but I want it because I want to have that experience of being on a bike. You're still a cyclist if you do that.
I can go get me a mongoose from Walmart. Like, that's my vibe. Like that's.
I mean, so would I tell you to do that? No, but but is that totally acceptable? Yeah, like. Like if you were talking about my specific space in road cycling, the same things still apply. Know what type of riding you want to do. If you want to get on like a 2-wheel nice bike, if you will. Know what type of riding you want to do. If you want to be on the dirt, if you want to be only on the road, or if you want to be able to go up and down mountains. So that's the
shout
first
out to
thing
everybody with those beach cruisers.
Shout out to everybody with those beach cruisers. Yeah, taking up hella room, riding the bike hella slow, almost making me crash. Yeah, shout out to y'all.
Y'all be having to deal with them in San Fran, though? They be having the beach cruisers on the
only on the bridge. Only on the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I know they ain't out there in the bay just with beach cruisers like that. But see that's what make it annoying though. Like the fact, like, why are you out here with a beach cruiser? Though?
For people who don't have cycling literacy, beach cruisers are bigger bikes. Like, describe what makes them uniquely different, or I guess more troublesome than other bikes.
They're just big bikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like the wheels are like that, like, you know what I'm saying, like that fat.
Okay, got you.
So to get through the sand, to ride through, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to get through a little bits of sand. But to jump back to what I was explaining is know what type of bike you want to be on. You know what I mean? Or like what type of terrain you want to be on if you don't know the bike. Because there's different categories in each like main category, right? So know that, but don't think that you have to spend a bunch of money. Cycling is expensive. Road cycling is probably the most expensive. Maybe mountain biking, like downhill mountain biking, might be a little more expensive. But be willing to spend some money, but don't think you have to get the latest and greatest right away. You can get something cheap and like affordable. Don't try to, because bikes will break the bank. As much I've sold a $24,000 bike, so you don't need that. Like
24K.
24K, yeah. So it's
vehicle.
That is a vehicle. That's definitely a nice vehicle.
That's a whole ass whip.
Yeah, that's a
whole ass whip.
I mean, I remember I asked you specifically because I was interested in it. My biggest fear about riding a bike out here, because I'm from Kansas City. I'm from, the city streets, but they not this city. They not like out here. I'm afraid of getting hit. I'm afraid of, so like I've been putting it off and kind of being real nervous about it, because I feel like if I buy a bike, I'm gonna just ride in a circle around my neighborhood. I'm too scared to go take a voyage. But that's just me and my insecurities. But I remember you telling me that my price range could be about $2 something, and if it's
for sure.
And that's reasonable. A reasonable investment for something that I want that's quality. I don't want to tear it up. I don't want it to tear up on me. I want to maybe get a warranty, a part of something. You know what I'm saying? All of those things. That sounds completely, within a realm of reasonability. So I appreciated that guidance a lot, with you being able to kind of let me know my entry point if I just want to sneak in there. Plug. Last question, or you had a question?
No, I didn't have a. Well, I actually did. I did have a question. In terms of like resources, like, and because I know you were talking about like finding like riding groups, like, you know what I'm saying, with black people, that type of shit. Like if motherfuckers was like, fuck it, I wanna ride with some niggas, and like what are like how do you go about that? Like, is it Facebook groups? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like how would you because that seemed like the most obvious, but like in terms of you developing like the people that you ride with and who you fuck, because do you ride with black people?
Yeah, I do. I don't ride with that many. Being in the Bay Area, and I'm not contradicting what I'm saying. The times that I ride are not at times that you see a lot of black people out, and I'm not saying that in like a funny way, but like
you be riding at like 2:00 in the morning.
No. So like the time
white people get caught with serial killers because y'all
the
hey, shout out to Lena. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. The time that I ride is like morning to middle of the day, like right when people have just gone to work. Sometimes I ride earlier than that to get out. But I ride between then and noon. And at noon, like my chances of riding with any group is low. I just know the one group that's there. So like I can't say like use my riding schedule and that'll help you make friends. It won't. But on weekends, like they always have this thing called Weekend Warriors. I think that applies to a lot of different things. But like, like the Weekend Warriors are always out, and that's not a group. That's like just a term. I don't want people to get confused.
And so like you get it in on the weekend.
Yeah. And so you can always find groups like in the Bay Area. You can always find groups. Just go to like if you're in Palo Alto, you go up to like Woodside. There's usually what you can do is go on Facebook. If like for all these markets that I don't know, you can always go on Facebook and just type in like cycling group that city. But like I said, if you are near a metro area or like the nicer suburb area or like a coffee shop of a metro area, you probably have cycling. I mean, I can't really think of too many places in the United States that would not have a good cycling group if you're within 50 miles of a metro area. You know what I mean? And they're not all going to be like California, but like I've seen like big cycling groups in towns that have less than 10,000 people. So you know what I mean? Like they are everywhere. To find Black folks, social media is probably a better friend. You know, like if you want to find specifically Black folks, use social media.
Is there some biker slang that we should know about, like some hashtags we should be throwing out there? Like, let me get on Instagram and find bike life or like cycle of life or something.
Hashtag helmet head.
What would you could, honestly, it sounds lame. You could probably just do hashtag cycling and get a decent hit. The cyclists aren't that cool. Like they're goofy, but you know what I mean?
You could probably just put the cycling in there and get pretty much everything that you're gonna run into, and then park it from there. You feel me?
Right. Well, imagine if like you typed in like hashtag Jordans, right? You wouldn't know where to start. You know, it's not that bad if you do hashtag cycling. It's a lot. You know, you will get a lot, but I think you can kind of filter it pretty quickly. If you just do hashtag cycling, you do stupid stuff like outside is free. That used to be like an old like hashtag. You'll find like cool people.
Outside is free. That's for them outdoorsy motherfuckers. Like get outside, get some fresh air.
Exactly. Like little hippie guys doing like acid before they ride bikes. You know those types of things.
Microdosing.
Yes, specifically microdosing. Yeah.
Well, okay. Real quick, Hurricane asked a question. I want you to jump in there and holler at us. How do you get to $24,000 bike? How does that happen? Is it parts? Is it
titanium? So that's pure titanium.
He is almost correct. It's not pure titanium, but yes, it's a titanium bike. That's the first start. But it's not the how, which is relatively easy, but it's the mindset of I need the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. You can always, bikes do have a finite amount of parts, but if you get the best of every single thing, because there's always third-party builders that make it better than the OEM builder, right? So like they can make it even more expensive. So like a part that would cost a normal person $20 could cost you $1,500 on a bike if you just wanted that custom. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just like this mindset of always wanting the best of every single thing, even if you're not really benefiting from it. But these guys are building toys. You know, $24,000 bike. I mean, you make a lot of money, like a lot of money. You know, so like.
And it exists in a market just like it sounds like just like anything else. Like you get to set the value for it and tell people this is what my labor and the parts or whatever, this is what I'm gonna call it.
Or just like any hobby.
Any hobby. Yeah. It's the same as any hobby. Which is cool though. I mean, people get really nerdy about it. Even though the guys who can't spend that money, they know how to get to that number. You know what I mean? And if you are a detail-oriented person, cycling is like really bad for you because you'll just go nuts. You know, I mean, it's fun though, you know, but it's for.
What's the most expensive chain you've seen? Bike chain.
Chain? A Dura-Ace chain is $275, I think. So probably a Campy chain or a ceramic speed chain, which probably be $500 or $700
for a bike chain.
And we just talking about the thing and make it go.
Just the thing just to spin it, just to keep your wheels turning. So like you keep playing around like that, you're gonna get some expensive stuff.
I'm saying if that chain pop one time, I'm losing my shit.
I'm not that.
If that chain pop one time, I'm losing my shit.
It won't.
Picking something else. Give me some skates or something. We're gonna try a new set of wheels, honey. I'm done.
Right.
Don't let that be the first place you shop is a place selling like so $24,000, that's a custom bike. You don't get that anywhere. You can't walk into a bike shop and ask for that. But any like regular nice looking bike shop that looks clean, because bike shops don't ever look clean, But if you walk into one of those, they probably have like a $13,000 bike for you. But it's not about the price though. Like I mean, it is. That's a barrier that can be like sticker shock. But like, I don't want it to make it be about price because like I don't want Black folks to think that they can't spend money either, because that's also a problem too, right? You Black folks like trick ourselves into like, oh, you can't spend money like that. Like, yeah, you can do what you can afford. You know,
poverty shaming like a moment.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, I don't want to make people think that they can't do one thing or another. But once again, it's just a mindset of you know how you get there.
Well, we can go ahead and call it with this last little component of the conversation. We just want to do a little 5Q with you. I got 5 questions I'm gonna ask you real quick. The answers can be semi-elaborate. They don't have to be too detailed, but definitely get in there and give us the content you want. We're just gonna do rapid fire 5 questions. Are you prepared for question number 5?
Question number 5, are you counting down?
I'm counting down.
Oh, okay. I don't have short answers, by the way. Go ahead, hit me. I'm ready.
I didn't mean short. I just meant, I'm gonna ask you some more so we can keep it going to the next one. Question number 5 is these can be totted, they can be scalloped, they can be au gratin, they can be shoestring, they can be waffle cut, they can be
waffle fries or fries, French fries.
Twice. They are different forms or styles of potato. Christopher, my question to you is, what is the best way to consume a potato?
Oh, I thought this was like where you like try to answer the question.
Pyramid.
I was not asking.
I like my fries like light. Like I'm gross like this, but like I feel like if we're talking fries, they have to be like kind of soft. Like I'm okay with crispy on the outside, but like very slightly crispy, because otherwise it's just a potato chip, and I didn't order that, So like a medium cook. Like I get my animal style fries lightly cooked.
I was going to ask you about that question. My follow-up, my sub-point to that question. This is for my Californians and for my people who plan to visit. But also, if you Texas in the building, y'all know something about this too. Are In-N-Out fries good? Yes or no? Why?
Are they good? That's not even a question. Of course they're good. Animal style fries are good. Animal style fries.
You're awesome. You're awesome. They put spicy.
You eat Whataburger? That's what he's talking about over there. He's talking about some Whataburger.
Whataburger is delicious.
No, you see, all right. So get off the show. No.
Mercy me. Question number 4. What is something, we've been in some perilous times here, some uncertain times during this here pandemic, but it's been a time of self-discovery for a lot of people. What is one thing you have learned about yourself during the pandemic? Something you've learned about yourself.
Damn, that's a great question. I don't have I don't know if I have a thing that I can just say, but I can just describe. Like I was just telling my buddy, this is like when I worked, so learn a little bit more about me. I worked in retail for a decade before the pandemic. So I worked luxury retail. And I didn't think that was like the only thing I could do, but like, I was like, oh, this is basically like me. Like I'll do this job or I'll do some other 9 to 5 and like, cool, whatever. And if you told me, like, I was already making photographs, like while I was working, retail and all that, but I always did it on the side. So if you told me, regardless of the pandemic, 8 months from now, you're going to not work here at all and you're going to just shoot photography freelance, like I'd be like, I can't do that. Like, I don't know how to do that. I'm too scared to do that, whatever. So now that I've been shooting, freelance for the last year and a half, and I don't plan on going back the other direction. I think the thing that like, I feel like it's like the lesson or whatever is just like not limiting myself with like my own thoughts, like not making myself think that this is as good as I can be. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's probably like the thing, but that's like, I have to explain all that to get you there.
I dig it. Question number 3. My question number 3 for you is, I've been seeing this meme around, like somebody, I think the tweet is like, what did you want to be when you growing up? Somebody was like, I do not dream of labor, or like, what do you want to be, or something like that. People are like, I've never dreamt of labor. But I want to ask you anyway, what did you want to be as a child? Growing up, what were your aspirations? What did you want to grow into? Who did you want to be as a young Christopher?
Like as a job?
As a job, what is the thing you would do all day if you were a child?
Oh man, well, because I was gonna say, like, I went through the natural boy thing. It's like I can't say cop anymore because like I'm not fucking with that, but I did I went through that whole cycle, cop, astronaut, all that. But what really stuck though is, like I said, I played baseball for a long time. So the thing that I really wanted to be was a baseball player. And it's funny, these aren't things that I necessarily dreamt of being, but I like really, really accept is I'm following in my great grandfather's shoes, which is kind of cool. So I applied for a government job to work on a train, and COVID happened, so who knows? But my great grandfather worked on the railroad, and he collected trains, which was super cool. And then, but he also was the first full-time Black radio host in the country, in Memphis. Like one of the first in the country, but definitely the first in Memphis. So he's like in the Smithsonian and shit. And I have my own podcast. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of cool that like these are things that I want to continue to pursue, you know, regardless. Because I'm like, it's got to happen for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. They clearly, I mean, all these things kind of have roots.
Where
you've been and what you've done. All right, question number 2. What was my question? I had it. Yes. I want you to tell us about something. It can be something big to you, small to us, big to you, whatever, something major, minor. But when was the last time you were proud of yourself and why? When was the last time you were like, hey, Christopher, you did that shit? All right, Creed.
Shit, bro, we about to be like going like a dark place or something. I don't know if I even have an answer for that one.
Come on, no, it could be something big or small.
No. Let me. There are a couple of things. I think the one thing, it kind of pertains to what I have just explained, you know, a little bit. But I will say to top like or to add on to that, I guess, is just being able to do what I do, and you know, trying to figure out like what your purpose is and not to get like philosophical, but like there's gonna be something that everybody does who cares about themselves, you know, that is gonna be like really, that's gonna be like the thing, you know what I mean? I don't think I've even come close to doing that, but at least I feel like the things that I'm doing actually are guiding me in that direction. Whereas like my previous life, pre-pandemic, I wasn't gonna be a bad person, but I couldn't say that I was like working in the direction of being the person I wanted to be. You know, does that make sense? You know, so now I feel like I'm at least heading in that direction, which is cool, you know, and like I have some faith and, you know, so.
I mean, I'm always reminded of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? When you kind of get your safety and security figured out, you have your basic needs, food, water, shelter figured out. You have, you know, employment, you have sense of self, you are valued to other people around you. You really are trying to reach for self-actualization, right? Which is that top part of the triangle. I think all of us are kind of at a stage, if I can speak for myself, I know the plug is on a similar journey where we're just trying to be the best versions and the versions of ourselves that we feel great about and excited about. Yeah. As we are extensions of ourselves in a bunch of other ways. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely rock with that. I think that was question number 2. Does that mean we're at question number 1?
Mathematically, yes.
Question number 1. My last question for you, Christopher Strickland.
What was my AOL name?
I'm gonna use the whole thing. I call George Lee. It's a vibe. Because we've talked about the many talents, the many hats that you wear, the many things that you do and have done, right? Luxury brand associate worker at a place where they do money things, cycling, photography, podcasting, all these things. If time, money, capacity was not an issue, what is something new you would like to learn or be taught? If time and money, if none of those things were a barrier for you, what's something new you would add to your repertoire?
Great question.
That is a great question.
I do what I can.
What would be one? I'm all about like this self-discovery thing, not like self-help books, like, you know, like white dude on like, you know, taking a headshot in the kitchen or some shit like that. But like some like I really have been digging like kind of figuring out like my own I don't want to say just trauma. It's not all bad, like where my habits come from and like the stuff that's like associated with like your family dynamic. Yeah. And I'm digging into that, but I think it would be very like valuable to kind of understand some other part of myself that I might not even be able to tap into without being alleviated from so many other stresses, you know what I mean? Because that should, yeah, because dude, I swear, man, like when you try to not try to, but like if you start to understand yourself, then you can understand other people a little bit better. Like you have a little more empathy. You know what I mean? Because people really be acting like I don't be tripping about shit. It's like, nah. Sometimes I do be tripping about shit, but like I understand that if it doesn't have to do with me, then like that person's going through some stuff, and that also allows me to be like a better friend. You know what I mean? So like like you can really help somebody out if that person can sense that you know how to tap into them. You know what I mean? I'm very like about my friends. Like people are like, oh, like all you do is like hang out with your friends, like, but like I don't know, my friends, that's how I'm wired. Like, so I like to be able to connect with people I care about, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Learn yourself, knowledge of self is something that a lot of us don't get. You think a lot of people walking around thinking they know themselves, and we don't.
Right? Yeah.
Like my roommate used this phrase. My old roommate, when I met her, she was like a couple years older than me, so had already lived a little bit of life more than I had. Moved from Oklahoma, was moving to SoCal. And, one of the phrases she uses, I've lived 3 or 4 lives at this point. You know what I'm saying? When she was just saying, that phrase always captivates me because it makes you wonder, like, what mechanism has this person used to, like, truncate this chapter? Like, this chapter is over this version. Okay, she's done this version. Okay, he's done. All right, this is the new, like, it just, and you want to kind of, without being nosy, like, tell me about the first one. You know what I mean? But that's what it sounds like in a lot of ways, that you want the opportunity to explore how all of those people have informed the person that we've had the chance to talk to today. And so
for sure.
I love that answer. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this section of Black People Don't, the first inaugural segment of Black People Don't here on the Chop Up. It's been amazing having our guests.
We got another one already lined up too.
Coming soon, but we've had a great person go ahead and kick open the door for us in photographer, cyclist, podcaster Christopher Strickland. Y'all make sure y'all check out the We Got to Hang Out podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. You can go to the Instagram page and get all the information you need. See what some of the past episodes have been about. You can go listen to the Toy G episode.
You should listen to the Toy G episode.
Europe. But it's been amazing having you, Christopher. Any parting words you want to leave with the people before we turn it over to the plug and then we get up out of here?
No, man, I just appreciate you guys having me, man. It's honestly a dream. I respect you guys. I mean, the way I guess they don't know, but like the way I found you guys is, podcast in general was definitely needed. It came at the right time in my life, and it's like I think you guys are like the best show. Like I have some other friends that do some really good things, but you guys are way up there. You know what I mean? Like you guys have great conversation. Like I be nodding my head. I don't really give a shit what like a lot of other people are saying, but I give a shit what you guys say. You know what I mean? So
that's love. That's what you call love right there. But yeah, man. Hey, and it's always dope to hear that. You feel me? Because we do what we do because it's regular to us. You know what I'm saying? It's just. All we did was take, what we already did and then just export it out to the world so other people could join in these conversations. So, knowing that people fucking with it, it make it all worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But just like y'all said, y'all can find Chris at the We Got to Hang Out podcast. Check that shit out. Watch the episode with Toya. She know how to act when she go to other places. So y'all know how she be acting the fool over here. She acted like she had some sense on Chris shit.
Very proper. Very proper.
So if y'all wanna, what I'm saying, if y'all wanna see her act like she know how to do some things, check her out on the We Got to Hang Out podcast. Y'all know where y'all can find us at the Chop Up Show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. At the Chop Up Show Pod. At the Chop Up Pod.
Let me listen. Twitter.
Don't send people to that. What is that on?
Twitter. It's the Twitter. I'm trying to get it right.
The map bus directions to your shit. That's a long ass.
It's the Chop Up Pod. Chop Up Pod.
The Chop Up Show. Chop Up Show Pod.
Google it. It'll come up.
It's the part because like on the regular on everything else is the Chop Up Show, and then on Twitter it's just Chop Up Show Pod.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
On Instagram, it's the Chop Up Show. When you find us, or look for us. When you Google us, like Christopher said, just the Chop Up Show, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Blog Talk Radio, wherever you plug it in, the Chop Up Show. Just type it in, get connected with us. Y'all see the consciously He was fading fast. He was fading fast.
He left. That's what George did. He didn't say bye. He said, "I'm out."
I don't know what happened to my friend, but
we had to put him in the back just because he wasn't making it. He was trying, and so we had to put him in the back just because he wasn't making it. He was trying very hard, and we appreciate the effort.
Well, if we missed him tonight, or since we missed him tonight, I want y'all to make sure y'all check him out on Wednesday night. Conscious Conversations, 9 p.m. Central. 9 p.m. Central. Make sure y'all jump on the Conscious League Instagram, the Conscious League on TikTok. He's going to be talking about it in public, so you can get all the information you need. But go check out Conscious Conversations. It's Wednesday night.
It'll be on YouTube. Be on YouTube Wednesday.
On YouTube. If y'all feel good, I feel good. It's big love to y'all. It's big love to Christopher. It's big love to the plug. It's big love to the Chop Up Nation. We're about to slide out, but don't be rude. On our way out, tell us good night. Good night to everybody in the chat. Good night to everybody in the comments. Big love. Plug. Send us out how you sent us in, brother.
Well, y'all know we got to close out the show the same that we start the show. Let's get it.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride.